Another thing we are proud to give Ron tonight is this plaque. On the plaque, it's going to be hung in the community at the administration center, and it reads, we're renaming the administration center Ronald J. Gunter Administrative Center. It says, in recognition of Ron's many years of selfless commitment and service to the Westmont Park District and the residents of Westmont, his leadership and direction for almost 40 years has helped create a park district that will be enjoyed by the residents of Westmont for many years to come.
Thank you, Ron.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to talk to the audience?
Well, thank you. Thank you. I think Tony's having a harder time with this than I am. I don't know where to start. I appreciate everything that has been said and all the different awards and comments that you have made to me, so it's very difficult for me to find a place to start. But I've been involved in Parks and Recreation here for 40 years, but even prior to that, I've been 45 years of being in the field. Every summer I worked park maintenance in my hometown. During the school year, I was student director of intramurals and then director of intramurals. So my love for recreation and parks go back to even my high school days. Why parks and recreation? When I was in high school, all I heard at home was no money. I was the oldest of four, and that the way to go to get along in life is to join the military. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what my dad did, his dad before him, and I think there's been a long list of those serving our country. And for a while there, I thought I was going to. And then Tony, who encouraged me and also told me she'd leave me if I did that, convinced me that I could be college material. And I think even my senior year in high school, first time I made the honor roll, I didn't apply myself. She gave me the encouragement to do that. And with that, I wanted to continue to play basketball. So I went to Parkland Junior College in Champaign. And I didn't know what I was going to be major in. The only thing I knew that I needed to find something that was out of district so I can get those fees waived, so I can be an in-district student. So I started looking at their curriculum, and there was recreation. So I decided that's for me, and that's where it started. From then on, it's been part of my life. As Steve said, I transferred up to George Williams, ended up getting my master's degree because Tony had another year of college. She's a year behind me. She was getting her bachelor's from Aurora University in accounting. So I decided, and I had the opportunity to stay and get my master's. And the year I was in grad school, Steve and myself were in Joe Schultz's class, and Joe Schultz was the first director here at the Park District. He started in '74, left in '80. He was my first boss. So Joe's teaching our grad class, and Steve and myself were umpiring our collegiate girls softball. Don't know why I didn't have anybody else, but we were umpiring their games. So we missed one of Joe's classes. And Joe had a position open as superintendent of recreation. And I was in class with a couple of the part-time workers here, and they told me, don't even apply for the job. Joe already had this woman in his office 3 times. That it's a given that she would get the job. And a lot of you don't know Joe, but there was another reason why that woman was in her office 3 times. But I did not know that at the time, so I didn't apply for the job. So we missed a class one time and we missed the test. So I had to go in and I talked to Joe about rescheduling the test. And at that time, Joe said, "Why haven't you applied for this job here at Westmont?" And I said, "Because it was my understanding someone already had it." And no, he told me, "Give me your resume," and the rest is history. Again, I started in '77. When I started, there were 6 full-time employees, 6 parks. We had 3 when Bob came on. And we're all housed out of the community center. And real quick, I'm not going to talk a whole long because everybody's been sitting a long time. My nephew's falling asleep. So, my first board meeting, I'm impressed. In school, they tell you to dress up. I had a 3-piece suit on. I felt proud of myself. So I go to the board meeting, and there's the board. And back then, Bob was the only one. They're sitting in either golf shirts or cutoffs and blue jeans, and they had a 22-minute meeting. And they said, "You know what? We're going to take you out." So here I am, dressed up. They take me to the Uptown. And I'm looking at everybody, and I realize that this is a community that works, and this is a community that plays. And I don't think I've ever wore a tie for a long time after that. I knew this was the community for me. My first 3 years, I started as superintendent of rec, and Joe gave me, let me do anything, because as long as the job got done, he let me continue to add more responsibility. Because I did parks, he made me in the second year superintendent of parks and recreation. There was no full-time maintenance guy, so I actually took care of the snow in the wintertime, along with my recreation. I had to, we shoveled the roof off 2 or 3 nights one time. And I told them, and this is just a real quick story, I told them the best way to get our brochures, and it's brochure, where's Kim? It's not program guide, we should deliver it ourselves. Of course, Joe said, "Great idea, go ahead." So I delivered personally with 2 part-time staff, probably 6 different brochures in this community. So I got an opportunity to walk it and get to know more about Westmont. At the same time, they hired Tony. Tony was working in Aurora, and our bookkeeper left. And the bookkeeper was 2/3. Tony was tired of driving. So Joe said, "Why don't you work here?" So they hired her in about '78. And she worked for a couple of years, and she'll tell you that I was a jerk as a boss, or as co-worker, because I wasn't her boss. And then in 1980, I had the opportunity to become director. And at that point, my first job, my first responsibility was to fire her. And I proudly did that because what that did for us is give us an opportunity to start our family. My family life, including before kids and after kids, have always centered around the Park District. My family are almost like an extension of the park. They realize the importance of being involved in the community. Everything we did, our vacations, anniversaries didn't matter. Tony used to ask me, "Why do you meet on our anniversary?" And I said, "Because it's the 2nd Wednesday of the month." So my whole life then became involved with the Park District, including my family. And I went to work every day, and I enjoyed it. There wasn't a day that I did not want to come to work. And when I say work, really wasn't work. To me, it was a way of life. And I realized from day one that it really was a place for me. And again, there's so many people that I could thank, and I'm just breaking it down in some real basic groupings, because there's so many people that have been so instrumental in providing me the leadership and the guidance through the years in Westmont. But first and foremost, I know it's my anniversary, but really it's Tony's anniversary too, so I'd like her to come up. She's been, yeah, you. Yeah. She's trying. Because 40 years she's been there and been part of the extended family. So I think she's having a harder time with this at this point. It's been our whole life. So the different groups I'd like to thank, of course, is my family. They've been extremely important in me being the director and being at Westmont Park District. I said my nephew, he came to our day camp. My niece, my great niece, my brother, they all participated in Westmont Park District. So my immediate family and my extended family, I want to thank you for all the years of support you provided me. My staff. I don't like to say my staff, but the staff. Not only the staff today, but the staff through the years. I've been blessed to have staff that have used the team approach, and I know I kind of used that with the village. They kind of said that we all are a team, and that's what it's been through the years I've been with the Westmont Park District. There's no such thing as it's not my job. Those who didn't believe that weren't around a long time, and it wasn't because I let them go. They just didn't want to be a team player. I don't think there's anyone in this that have worked for me before or works now have not rolled up their sleeves and did whatever was necessary in order for us to provide the services we do to the community. And it's obvious because everything you see today was done by our staff. Before I move on, Keith, are you here? Keith, stand up. Keith Johnson has been with me since, December of '84, January of '85. Keith is superintendent of our greens. He is retiring also on May 31st. So Keith, thank you. The second grouping, or the third grouping, is my board. It's rare, and I know you heard Bob say 160 years, it's very rare that you have a board of elected officials who are not compensated a penny, that really are serving for no other reason than to provide recreational opportunities for citizens of this community. No other reason. There was no political reason. There was no stepping stone to go on to bigger and better things. They serve because they want the community to be better. And Bob Burness, I know we said it before, but I like Bob to stand up. Bob, he's been 43 years. So he was on the board when I first hired. He also is leaving after 43 years of service. Diane also started in '78, so her and Bob made the decision, along with 3 others, to allow me the opportunity to be director. And at 26 years old, it was quite an honor. And if it wasn't for Joe Schultz letting me run the district for those 3 years, I wouldn't have been ready. And I do have to thank Diane, and then Sandra Smith started in '81, Jim Long in '82, and John Carish in '05. So that my board has been a blessing to work with. So many horror stories from directors who have had board members who are not cooperative. This board has allowed me to manage the district the way I want to manage it, and to give me the advice and the support necessary that I could make the Park District the way it is today. The community, that's my kind of my last grouping to thank. I don't know, I've never, ever updated my resume. I never, ever cared about what I made. Westmont has always been a perfect fit. It allowed me to be myself. I didn't have to pretend to be anybody else. I could wear swishy pants. I could just be me. And that's what made it so important to not even think about looking anywhere else. This is a community that we love. We raise our family here. We wish our daughter and son can move into Westmont. And so Westmont has been our lives, the Park District, of course. And when you talk about staff, the only thing I left out is that many times you'll hear people say, that's my second family. And it is. Our staff through the years care about everybody. They care about each other. And without them, I couldn't have been here for 40 years, as well as the board. I think the future is bright for the Park District. Even though they've hired several people that are younger than I was when I started, the future is in good hands. We still have the continuing board, and Bob will be a great director. He's been here 20 years, so the Park District is in good hands. Retirement, and this will be the last little thing I have to say. You've heard that I've been mayor 3 years. I am going to run again in a year and hopefully be reelected, because that's going to keep me from getting withdrawal symptoms. I think Tony's scared that I won't have anything to do, and she tells me I can't boss her around. So in retirement, I'm going to keep busy. I think that the mayor will give me an opportunity to continue to be involved in this community, to give me a way to continue to help this community. I think Westmont, the park, the Rotary, the Lions, the Knights of Columbus, all the organizations in this community are important, and I'll continue to serve them. And last but not least is the family. Got to quit saying previous was that 20 years ago, I wouldn't be up here, because I always said, Steve, you give the speech. Someone else do it. But I've learned that in the past several years, I've got to be up on stage and take those pictures like I never did before. But my family, that's going to be what's going to be real important to me in retirement. Tony's been there since day one. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have these 40 years here. I wouldn't have went to school. She's been the one that's kept me on track, kept the family focused and moving ahead. And my grandchildren, my 2 children, but my grandchildren have become my retirement. Felix, who's Brad's son, Brad and Tisha, and of course Sophia, who everybody thought has been working for the Park District for 2 years. Natalie and Jason's daughter. Natalie's also expecting in about 3 weeks another girl. So as you know, I love kids. I've always loved kids. They are part of me, been part of me for my whole life. So my grandkids are going to be what I'm looking forward to every day. And again,
Look out.
huh?
Look out, kids.
Look out, yeah. But I do have to say, again, big thank you to everybody here today and everybody who's helped me during those 40 years. It doesn't seem like 40 years, but it has been, and I'm thankful to each and every one that's here and everybody that stood behind me during those years. So I guess the last thing I can say is something my granddaughter has started to sing, and it's basically Let It Go. So she says 3 words, and it's let it go. And again, I thank everybody, and it is time to step down and let the rest of the staff provide the leadership. Thank you. You wanna say something?